Okay, well, we can
I
start
do.
going. We'll just talk. Okay, so let's start. Oh, hello there, anybody who's joined us. Thank you for joining to our live
Hi.
stream. This is Andrew, and this is my wife Lisa with Recipes Recommended. We actually haven't done a live stream in over a year, and we're not experts at it by any stretch, and we're still figuring it out, so I appreciate your patience. We wrote an outline for our live stream just because we have a lot to talk about. First off, we hit 500 subscribers in December, which is outstanding, and we're at 688 thanks to subscribers like you. So of course, thank you. We got 10 times more subscribers in 1 year, which was exceeding our goals, which is wonderful. And our goal, of course, is about 1,000 and a certain amount of hours watched. The reason is we get monetized and we're able to grow the channel even more and do more for you. But I'll let Lisa talk to you a little bit more about some stuff about our mission and how we are if you're brand new. Go ahead.
Our mission?
Yeah, so how did we start Recipes Recommended?
Well, I'm a photographer, and then Andrew is a chef, and we were trying to find a creative outlet that we could do together. And so um, we had this idea to share recipes, family recipes, or just well loved recipes that other people make. Learn how to make what they're making
Yeah,
and
so
why.
to just further discuss that, uh, about I don't know, over a dozen years ago, my mom passed away, and she left behind, among other things, binders full of recipes, some of them good, some of them bad, but hundreds and hundreds of recipes, and I thought it would be kind of fun to go through ones that I recognized and, with my 20 plus years of experience, recreate them and maybe edit them a little bit and modernize them a little bit, and it became a lot more fun. Uh, Obviously we wanted to do something like this, and we got a lot of encouragement, and people, not obviously, but a lot of people thought that it would be a really cool idea to add their own family recipes, right? Because they felt that it was pretty poignant that I was honoring my mom this way. We actually did a video, one of our first videos, about one of those recipes. It was a breakfast recipe for a cheese strata, and it's kind of funny, but it wasn't actually my mom's recipe. It was a Martha Stewart recipe, but I always thought it was hers. So that was in the infancy of our video production, and it wasn't really as good by today's standards, but we really loved it at the time. One of the problems that I think that we had was the audio was kind of bad. We were trying out different mics, our iPhone mic and some other things, but finally we invested in actually some better equipment, so I think the quality is much better. So let's move on to the next section. And if you have any questions at all during this, if you have the ability, please chime in. We'd love to discuss it with you. Um, so if you've actually been familiar with our website, excuse me, our channel for a while, you know we also had a website that we would promote at the end of our videos, and we don't have it anymore. We still have the domain, but it wasn't really as straightforward as we would have liked. We didn't really want to do a blog, a traditional food blog website, and using Wix as our platform, and their tools just was more of a challenge and wasn't really worth it, especially with some of the other costs that were involved. So we decided to start a Substack, which is kind of like a blog channel, but it's more for writers. But you can add recipes there, and you can add a community, which is a lot. The barrier to entry is really low. It doesn't cost anything, although they have a monetization model right now because of our size. We don't have any plans to charge anybody for it. Although you can send money if you'd like to, but again, there's really nothing that is paywall for anybody yet. So do you want to talk about some of our platforms, because you manage the Instagram and some other stuff?
I do the Instagram, you do X.
Yeah, I do. I Whenever we do any content, I always put it on our X account. But it's just basically links to the YouTube videos. Um, but if that picked up, we would obviously write a little bit more. But I think that Substack is actually the best place for actual, more in-depth discussion about what we're working on. Facebook is something also that we were looking at, but that seems pretty complicated, and not complicated, but the way that we have it set up with Instagram, it's been giving us some challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Well, we don't have a lot of social media stuff going on. That's something that we're working on right now. Trying to figure out how to do it. It's hard, just the two of us, because we have kids and work and like I need some advice. If anybody has tips on how to manage social media, please send them my way.
Yeah, time is a big issue. Having two small children is you do things on off hours. Like a lot of the audio recording and script writing that I do is usually after 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and sometimes I'm very tired. Hopefully, it doesn't come across in how I write and record. But yeah, we find the time that we can. But we're excited. We have a we have an endless amount of recipes and ideas that we're constantly talking about. Um, in fact, we were going to show some of the stuff, kind of our process of what we do. For instance, like
You have a
it says, "Hey guys, I'd love to." Oh, can you read it out loud?
love to stay up and interact, but it's super late in Europe, and I need to get some Z's for work. Tried your chimichurri recipe, and it was great. Thanks, and wish you the best of luck.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much.
That's very kind.
Yeah, very very kind. I see that you dropped off already, but that's if you're gonna
That's
rewatch
very
this, we
nice.
really appreciate it, and being patient with obviously all the things that are challenging for us. Anyway, so we're gonna continue.
That's very nice.
Maybe I can edit out the beginning of this video when we're having problems, so that that anybody that rewatches it is gonna get something out of it. So anyway, we're talking about books and kind of inspirations. If you watched our mushroom soup recipe, it came from this book. And you see the tabs. I have a whole bookshelf over there of a lot of books. This is the Moosewood cookbook, which you can see it's kind of well loved because it's got a lot of interesting stuff. Generally speaking, when I look at recipe books or cookbooks in general, my rule is that if there's at least one or two really solid recipes, I think it's worth it. There's a lot of magazines and stuff where you just buy and you just kind of shake your head that you spent $25 or something, and you're not really getting it. You're not learning anything or getting inspired or whatever. On the flip side, other funny things is I keep an open mind with a lot of things. We went to a discount store, a dollar store the other day, and I found this funny little, really poorly produced book. However, it's mostly like a charcuterie or appetizer type book, and there's like 4 recipes that we could easily do in it. For instance, so if you know me at all, you know that I lived in South Carolina. Um, this recipe, this hush puppy jalapeno hush puppy recipe, looks really good. And I actually wouldn't change anything in the recipe. There's a deviled eggs recipe in here, some pickling recipes, some other interesting charcuterie stuff. There's a cranberry jam recipe from scratch, and then finally there's like a pastry cheese twisting. Those are all things that catch my eye, and that book was $1. So I mean, you always have to keep an open mind when you're looking at recipes for inspiration. Um, we actually just almost finished the audio portion of a video that we're next going to put out. And I got this book in a bargain bin. I'm not a huge fan of the Tealish channel because it's mostly kind of gimmicky type food, but there's a really good casserole recipe in there. And I think that it's something that the barrier to entry is really great for anybody who's just starting cooking or somebody who has a busy lifestyle like we do. And I think that that was kind of the inspiration. One of the things I say in the video is that even though it's simple and it just seems like they're really common flavors and stuff, there's really good foundation for technique that you end up, if you get good at stuff like this, you just automatically in autopilot going to use the same type of techniques with other recipes that you use. Whether you're conscious of it or not, there's a lot of good just muscle memory that you can really benefit from by practicing, again, like I said, simple recipes like this. Anyway, there's a million books. Like I said, I could easily rattle off 20 recipes that I would happily make a video of, but we will have to dedicate the time to it in each video. How many hours do you think that on your end that you put into like a 5-minute video for editing?
It depends. It depends on what you're making and if I'm having any technical issues, but I would say it takes, just for editing, I'll say 10 hours.
Right. Okay. So let's add it up. So shopping, which is just an arbitrary number, deciding on a recipe, but then doing the actual cooking and going through it and maybe making it 2 or 3 times, doing all the setup. Like a half an hour recipe might take us 2 hours to film, and then there's maybe another hour of photography with that. My audio usually is writing a script that makes sure it aligns with the actual steps of the recipe, because sometimes I'll do something a little bit out of order, like the prep work, or if I'm salting something after or whatever, and just the way that I talk about it so that Lisa has a good time with the editing. That the script can probably take 2 or 3 hours, and then the recording can take another couple of hours. So right there, like to produce one single video is going to take us anywhere between, I would say generously, 15 to 20 hours. And that's time that we have to figure out, right? So although we would love to put a video out once a week, other life priorities kind of jump in. And
Hopefully that'll change.
yeah. I mean, the dream would be to get monetized and get big enough that this would be something that would supplement, the income enough that we could dedicate more time to it. And I don't think that it's impossible. I mean, it's obviously the goal, but we do it. The main driver of this is because we want to honor recipes, mostly family recipes. If we had our druthers, we would only do family recipes, I think. And beyond that, I think that teaching people certain kitchen skills, cooking skills, knife skills, history, those are the things that really appeal to me. So whether we were bazillionaires or where we are now, I think that it really wouldn't change our motivation to do this. And Lisa's a great editor. Like, we would never need to really invest in anything like that.
Nice.
Well, it's true. I mean, you've seen our videos. Which gets into our video improvements. We've grown a lot. If you look at some of our earliest videos, we're still kind of learning. Lisa does a lot of work in her research on how to improve on videos, how to get the right music, how to get the right levels. And by and large, our comments are usually very positive. Sometimes people get really cranky about what the song is or what the audio levels are. But again, these are just really minor things, and we listen to it and we try to improve upon it.
Also, about that, I just want to say that's been the hardest part, because neither of us are audio technicians. So it's hard to figure out levels, and sometimes it sounds right on our speakers or our computer, whatever. But so have some patience. I think we're getting it down.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But it definitely takes. I mean, that is an amazing skill to have.
One of
an
the
audio editor.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. One of the things that I notice a lot, it's kind of like our kids growing up. Every time our friends or family members see our kids, they're like, "Oh my God, they've grown so much." And it's like I see our videos, and it's like, okay, we're just continuing on. I don't see much improvement, but then I periodically go back and I watch a video 5 videos ago. I'm like, wow, we've gotten so much better. Like, it's a lot tighter. The amount of research we put in, like, I'm not gonna lie, I'll go to AI and I'll ask how to summarize it and how to tighten it up, and sometimes they've got really good points, and hopefully it translates over. For instance, our intros in the beginning usually kind of were a little bit long-winded, but so we've tried to get really to the point as quickly as possible. And the trade-off is that you get a 4.5 minute video versus something that's 9 minutes. But honestly, I think our general audience watches our video and just kind of wants to see how it's done, and kind of get a feel for what they should be doing instead of a lot of the fluff.
With the exception, I think, of the family stories.
Yeah. I'll spend all day talking about.
That's different. We want to know the connection between why you love this recipe. Why'd your grandma make this recipe all the time?
Yeah.
And why you make it now, and we want to understand what brings people together.
Yeah, that's 100% right. Since I mentioned the Substack, when I made the Substack, I saved a lot of the content from our website, and I've been kind of trickling it out. And it's been, really moving. I just put up one about my one of my best friend's grandmother's recipe, and it's kind of a funny story. But I was rereading the blog, watched there was a short video. It's not a long form video, and I was like, this is really great. And it's, I'm learning about my friend's family that I didn't wouldn't know and wouldn't know otherwise. I get to know basically by way of the story, who this woman was, and it's wonderful to me, right? Um, and we want more of that, right? I don't, I can only do so many of my mom's recipes. I mean, I could do a bunch of them, and I will do a bunch of them, but the goal is to have other community members like you share with us and inspire not just you know a good time, but inspire people to get in the kitchen. And I mean, after all, that's the number one place that people congregate, right? That's where I want to be, right? And for instance, whenever we're watching like a home improvement show, I only focus on the kitchen because that's where I want to be. And it's like, oh, how great would that be to have my kids growing up and helping me cook and helping Lisa cook and just goofing off, and that's really what it's all about. Whether you're conscious of it or not, this is what it's all about. It doesn't matter what your culture is. Everybody gathers around the dinner table, or they have holiday stuff, or they whatever. It can be a football game. Just everything relates back to food, and of course, there's going to be great stories about it. Um, all right. Do you want to talk about anything else about kind of what's it been inspiring you with music or anything like that? Because you were talking about maybe changing it up a little bit.
Oh yeah, we're always thinking about music because, well, music is really important to me, and I like to think that like images and food go together, but you also want the right music. Like we're not just gonna use the same song for everything because what works in one video is not going to work in every video, and you want to set a tone. It's kind of like when you go to a restaurant, right? You go to a restaurant, say you go to an Italian restaurant, most likely you're not going to hear punk music. I don't know, maybe you might if you're at a hipster Italian restaurant. But you kind of want to go for a mood. What am I in the mood for? I'm in the mood for Italian. I want to hear like
Yeah, you
I
don't,
don't know.
but you don't want to have this like almost offensive like
No.
accordion music
No,
playing.
you don't
Like,
want to know.
um, so yeah, I mean, that's a major part of a lot of video content. And like we were talking earlier, the more communication and contact that we have by way of comments or just actual conversation, good or bad, I mean, it helps everybody grow and it creates a better experience. I know that a lot of people that watch food content watch it just kind of to relax, and they're not any intending whatsoever to cook the food. However, our demographic is a little bit older, which I guess it makes sense. We don't make the same style of food videos that you'll see on TikTok or a lot of YouTube. It's really kind of, here's how you do it. Here's a very clear view of how you do it. Um, we do a top-down video just only because we have a small kitchen and it's the best way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not rapid fire. I mean, every single step that we take, we try to be as clear as we can, right? So, I'm not going to explain how to dice an onion every single time, even though that seems like it's uh, in every single recipe. But I will periodically, and I think that one of the things that we've talked about. I know I'm being very, you know, I'm going on tangents or whatever, but there is actual purpose and deliberateness of what we're doing when we're making our videos. Whereas, like I said, a TikTok video, it's just, yeah, that's great. This is a beautiful dessert that you've made, or this bread that you've made is really great, and you've got a wonderful kitchen. And I'm so happy that when you take that bite, you're so pleased with how it came out. I mean, it just doesn't seem as sincere as what we're trying to do,
But
right?
also, like, I watch a lot of food videos now just for ideas or inspiration or whatever. And some of them, you're not learning anything. It's not, the food doesn't look that good. And it's just like, it's,
Paint by numbers almost.
yeah, there's no thought
You
to
know,
it
I
at
think
all.
I think that people all go through the just will copy what works, and we'll get editors that all edit the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm lucky enough to be married to somebody who naturally is a good editor, and we naturally have our own style, and we're very, very honest about our approach, and we're going to cook food that we actually like. Something that you guys might not know is I don't like mushrooms at all, but we made the mushroom soup recipe I talked about earlier because I know Lisa used to make it when she had a previous job, and there's a story to that, and I have to learn how to cook every food, even though there's some stuff that I don't like. But um, going beyond that, I mean, what I'd like to talk about too, moving forward, is beyond just family recipes, but beyond recipes that I find in books that I think are useful to people. One thing that I kind of ruminate on is if I were younger and I was growing up with my family again and I had the knowledge that I have now, like what are certain things that I could do to really impress my family or like I don't know, have a better experience. And it's just like I'll do something really mundane like cutting a pineapple. And I can remember when I worked at the Sheraton, which is a hotel chain that you probably I think it's global, I don't know. And I learned how to properly break down a pineapple. And I just don't think a lot of people know how to do that. Or a mango. Mangoes are really hard to properly prep and get pretty. But just a lot of people can't do it. Um, and so making videos like that, I don't know if that's really beneficial to people on our channel. I'd like to think that it is. I like doing little culinary school type videos like here's how to make a beurre blanc. And that's, believe it or not, that's one of our most popular videos, right? So like I would love it if eventually we had a video on every single one of the mother sauces. That would be, really good because it's, these are things that if you care about cooking, um, you should really not just know how to do them. I mean, you don't have to know how to do them. You can just kind of look at a recipe and do it. But it's the history of cooking, and I think that goes hand in hand with again the stories with families. It's like, oh, I learned how to make a marinara sauce when I was in culinary school, and it blew me away how much better it was than any jarred sauce that I had. Right? These are just cool things. Or like, okay, then I start thinking about growing tomatoes with my son in the summertime, and then making stuff. I mean, that's the coolest thing in the world, right? Anyway, we're just looking for inspiration all the time. We're looking for inspiration of what to cook that actually is beneficial to the people that watch our channel. I know it's kind of getting into a niche because we're doing a very specific thing, but the hurdle that we're really trying to jump over is really getting the engagement of people to say, "Hey, I've got a really cool story about this time we did a Sunday roast, and I'm in England, and over here we do it this way, and you over in the United States do it a different way." And I don't know. That's awesome to me. Like the best thing in the world is hearing people enthusiastic about their family life and really what makes things tick and what connects us all together.
Uh, Along with that, it's just like the comment we got earlier. So we know we're a small channel. We know we don't have a ton of subscribers, but we get to see that people in Europe have found us, or people in just other
Real
countries
people, not like bots, right? Because
have
we have had a
found
few,
us.
yeah.
Yeah, and they comment and they make our food, and
Yeah, the comment we got
that's
earlier saying that
amazing.
they made our chimichurri and they liked it. I mean, I wish that it weren't so late over there. It's obviously probably 10 o'clock there. That's I mean,
It makes me want to continue working on it.
yeah. Do you remember what I said with the cookbook? If I found one recipe, it would be worth it. Look, if one person made one of our recipes, that's worth it. That's worth it. If one person said, "Hey, I made it and it was good," that's so
Hmm.
cool. That's the coolest thing in the world, right? Like, imagine being any kind of creative person and someone genuinely coming to you and saying, "I got something out of this." Like, it would be worth it. I mean, you're not
Yeah.
doing it necessarily for other people, but you're sharing this thing that really meant something to you. And I don't know. I mean, I can only imagine where it goes from here. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, we're not doing it for compliments or whatever. It's just, like I said, we would do it if we had $1 billion or where we are now. Um, and I don't know. I just hope that people get something out of it. I feel like a lot of people are just kind of lurking, watching the videos, and I'm not the type of person that engages with a lot of other food videos. Despite a lot of people saying that food channels should always be promoting other ones, and I'm just an honest person. If I don't like it, I'm not going to do it, right?
Yeah.
Um, oh, that was one other thing I was thinking about. So if we were to um, get let's say momentum, and let's say we got, I don't know, enough subscribers to be monetized, like the end goal would be getting some kind of support through some sponsorships, right? And I always daydream with Lisa. I was like, oh, what are the sponsorships that would be good? um, and so, like pots and pans, like one of our favorite companies is called Maiden, and I'm very, very, very slowly uh, upgrading our cookware to Maiden cookware. um, and it makes me think like, how would I make a video about that? It's just like I wouldn't just do a snippet. Like I would make a whole video and be like, this is a 12-inch skillet, and this is the types of stuff that you would use. How you would use it. I think about when I was in culinary school, and you go through other process. It sounds mundane, but it's not, because there's a lot of things that if you know the just really basic fundamentals, like your cooking gets so much better. Like I could talk an hour about the temperature of how to cook a fried egg, right? I mean, some people wouldn't like that, but it's fascinating to me, and it just makes everybody cook a little bit better. Anyway, I'm sorry about that diatribe, but all I do is think about cooking. Um, so yeah, I think that we've pretty much gone through that bullet point. I don't know. I don't really know what else that we're going to talk about except for the future. There's a lot of content that we're going to make. I don't know how frequently. Ideally, we'd like to put something out. What, like once every couple of weeks? I guess. I know that there was kind of a 6 or 12 week period where weren't really putting stuff out.
That depends on the time of year for me, because like summertime's easier for me with work, um, to make the videos. So you may see a bunch of videos come out in the summer, and then a little less during the year. But we're gonna figure it out. I'm figuring out editing. Also, editing's not my background at all, so I have had to learn a lot. Um, but yeah, we'll have fast times and slow times.
Mm-hmm.
But we need recipes. We need recommendations.
Yeah, I think that's the number one. It's more interesting, and I don't necessarily think that we say it enough. I don't think people really know that this is a recipes that are recommended by other people, right? Not just us, right? I mean, I think that if you were to see the name of our channel, you'd be like, oh, you're recommending this. Well, yeah, that's true. We're recommending recipes we like, and we're teaching you how to cook. But at the end of the day, like, I would much rather cook somebody else's recipe that they thought was incredible and tell a story about it and share it with people, because it resonates. So yeah, that's basically it. It's I think in an ideal world I would do a 4-to-1 your recipes versus something that inspired us. And hopefully we can start doing that. We're at 688 subscribers, which is mind-boggling that many people liked us enough, or were you know inspired enough to say I would like to watch more of this. Um, yeah, it's just I can't imagine when we started that we would get that much. Um, so thank you. I guess we're gonna wrap it up unless there's anything else you want to say.
I don't know.
I think that we should. I think we should. But thank you. Um, if you're watching this now and you wanted to watch our originally scheduled live stream, I'm very sorry that we had technical difficulties, and hopefully we can edit out the beginning part of it so it doesn't. I don't know. It moves as smoothly as I was hoping it would. Anyway, yeah. So I'm
And
Andrew. And if you don't know, my name is Andrew, and this is Lisa. I always mention Lisa.
and
Um,
send us your recipes. You can send them to us on
do
Instagram.
go through
You can go
Instagram.
through Substack.
Substack is what we really want people to start looking at. It's a really clean platform, and by clean I mean you go to us. You're gonna likely start seeing blogs that are related to videos that already exist and that go into a lot more depth. And I'm gonna start writing just some blogs that are just about just not necessarily recipe specific stuff, but that is a great way to just make comments or just send us messages. There's no easy way directly through YouTube to send us a message except through comments. But in order to reach out to us for us to get back in touch with you, Instagram or Substack are the ways to go for sure.
Yeah, that sounds good. And then let us know what you think in the comments. Let us know how everything's going. We listen to you. We want to know.
And even if it's negative criticism, I mean that's just going to help us grow, right? And or if you just want to tell us that you're happy that we're doing what we're doing, we're not gonna dislike that. So, all right, cool. I appreciate it. We
Me
love
too.
you. And I'm not gonna say our catchphrase, although I like it. So, all right, I'll see you later.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.